Welcome, race fans, back to SVR. My name is Webbo here to join you today from Watkins Glen for the G2 Round 2 of the 2026 VR Sim Racing World Championship, brought to you by SVR, of course. And this is how our championship is looking. Ian with the win last time out, finishing obviously ahead of lyly. Ian in P1, lyly P2, with Brum bringing up the podium positions in the championship in 11th. We've got with 11 points. We've got Sock in 4th, B-Bar, Black Evo, Grant Me Peace, Lord Top Hat, Monkey Games, Rhino, Zenith, and Ping Slayer. 12-point scorers so far in the championship. And I will just switch across over to review the teams. Argento, in a turnaround of fortunes, in the inverse of fortunes, I should say, from the G1 division, Argento are on 28 equal with Oro, who have outperformed in terms of relative performance their G1 positions. Oro with a joint first position with Argento. Morado are third, Hector in fourth, Zelen in fifth place with Obsidian and Azul Racing yet to really get off the mark. Well, we're ready at Watkins Glen. It's a relatively chilly, overcast day here in upstate New York, and we're just reviewing the qualifying positions as we get ready for our rolling grid of the fantastic drivers we have here for you today. We've got obviously we can see Zenith Spec starting at the rear of the grid, with Ian for the Tortoro Porsche in P13. Starting towards the back, we've got Monkey Games on P12 with B-Bar in 11th for Hector Motorsports. Black Evo is in P10. We have VR Hot Laps starting way down on his usual qualifying positions here in P9. Grant for Obsidian in 8th. We have Lord Top Hat for Zelen Motorsports in P7. Rhino taking his Hector Porsche up to P6. We see Sock starting 5th for Argento in the RCZ. I have to call it the RCZ for my American league that I commentate on, so I stumbled for a second there. My apologies. In the 296 Ferrari, we have Brum in P4, the Banana, DaddyBanana in P3, and then NTO, who will be reserving today in P2, and lyly in the Tortoro Porsche in P1. Well, hopefully we're ready for a fabulous race then around this great famous GT racing circuit of Watkins Glen, and we're ready then to get underway for 27 racing laps of this circuit. So just getting our camera angles together. That was a really nice one to start things off. So 27 laps around this circuit as we get underway then. Just checking out soft tires on the pole position holder. It's ready to get racing, and it's dropped the clutch and go, go, go. lyly preferring to sprint away from the grid here as he gets, of course, hit that loud pedal. Lots of inside line taking from the top 3 on the way through turn 1. DaddyBanana on hards. We've got NTO on the medium tyres as we'll go back through. We see Brum on the hards as the drivers have to use the hards and the mediums side by side. Go Grant and Lord Top Hat. Lord Top Hat just slightly shouldered out to one side as the Hector Motorsport and Morado, very similar purple and white colour schemes between the two of them at the back. Monkey Games on the defensive with Ian moving forward in P13. Zenith is out the back where he started. There's a huge slide for lyly through this bus stop for the first time. We did see plenty of action in G1 in exactly the same situation as Brum is round the outside. We've got Sock diving down the inside. Sock on those racing mediums. Brum, I think, on the hards, struggling through that bus stop chicane, possibly distracted slightly by the sliding Porsche on the inside, as Sock is also going for a move here, potentially on DaddyBanana for P3. Sock, the big mover from the start of this frantic race, and through the toe of the boot they go. They look like the tiniest bit of contact there, potentially between Sock and the driver on his, what is outside at the moment. On his right-hand side, he's about to go down the inside line, and an action replay here. There is definitely a gap for Sock, but he overestimates exactly the apex speed as he runs through there. That is going to hold up DaddyBanana on the way down the kind of sole of the boot on the way through, and it's 2x2 on the way into the heel of this Watkins Glen race circuit. Everybody, though, behaving pretty nicely at this stage. Hot Laps in 9th, Black Evo in 10th, B-Bar in 11th. We've got Ian, Zenith Specs, Monkey Games with a big problem there through the grid. We'll just try and find out what happened to Monkey. He won't thank me for this, but he has dropped significantly far back from this position. Where did Monkey Games end up losing his positions, I wonder? Where is he? 12th. He's still, well, he is roughly where he started, so my apologies to Monkey Games as we get underway, but it was Ian then who went down the inside of Monkey Games. Following through was Zenith Specs, so that is how things went down. Lyly still leading this race on those soft tyres. That was the incident we saw a moment ago then through this this long sole of the boot section. And Brum caught a little bit on the outside here, watching and waiting for disaster to befall someone in front. Brum parking on the outside. It's a legitimate run round the outside there. A little bit, a tiny amount too wide. We'll see if a penalty appears on over Brum's head in a moment. But as they run through another big slide from Brum in these cold, hard tyres, these cooler racing conditions for us here today, unfortunately for everybody. But this is how things are shaping up. Rhino is in P7 behind this group. VR Hot Laps has had a hell of a start there, especially considering on the Azul Lamborghini. He's sitting on the hard tyres. He's really got those activated very well. Rhino down the inside into turn 1 on Brum. Can he make the faster run through here? And once again, as we saw on the previous lap, Brum really struggling with understeering wide in the Ferrari 296. This time he was given a penalty for going over track limits. You have to stay 2 wheels on the red and yellow curbs on the exit of turn 1, but it does invite you to push very, very strongly on the way through. Lyly, NTO and Sock, your top 3 as we watch the tail runners coming through the bus stop here for the second time. There's the nasty wall on the inside that Monkey Games managed to avoid, but he has got back in front. Well, Biba, who's lost positions here for Ector Motorsports, down into P14. Absolutely action-packed start to the race, and the front runners are starting to gap the cars behind. Sock on the mediums in front of Grant, also on those medium tyres, and it's DaddyBanana on the hards who's dropped down 3 or 4 positions from the start, but he needs to get those hard tyres up to temperature, and then he can start regaining positions on the long run here in towards the heel of the boot, and the drivers in the setting sun light. I wonder, whether we will get more mixed light conditions for this round than we had in G1, as that looks like Black Evo having a little look down the inside here in towards the back of the knee. It's really stretching the analogy here for the racetrack boot section on the run through, and then into the penultimate corner, about to finish out lap 2. Absolutely frenetic, and there's Monkey Games with a big problem then. Excuse me, hitting the wrong button there, but Monkey Games just running wide. Let me see, was it here? He can see lots of action going on in front. He'll be nervously waiting to see if anything problematic goes down for him. Running through, and is it just a little bit too strong? It didn't actually. Why does it not do what I want it to do? Right, let's go back. This is Monkey Games, and it was just oversteery wide, and he allowed the other 2 drivers to come through, sadly. But there you have it. Lyly starting lap 3, soft tyres, absolutely storming away. NTO trying to stay with him, but of course with a tyre deficit there. Now we've got Grant and Sock. It looks like Grant had a look, was it into the bus stop, or did Sock lose it on through the bus stop? We'll have a look through this. Sock was a little bit slower perhaps, and Grant Peace made his way by in turn 1 before they got to the S's. Sock a little bit slow through turn 1. Grant Peace went and found his way through very nicely. DaddyBanana in 5th, now holding off the soft tyre shod Porsche of Rhino, who gets a fantastic run through those S's, but Rhino has a penalty to pay here, and it's a very, very heavy penalty to pay on the gap between the toe and the heel of the boot. That's going to hurt momentarily, but all he can do is go as fast as possible on this section of the track. VR Hot Laps in 7th now, ahead of Lord Top Hat, racing out of Australia. Lord Top Hat with his Antipodean teammate Monkey Games racing out there from New Zealand. Black Evo in 10th, Lord Top Hat and Zenith Specs side by side. Zenith Specs has had a stormer of a start, up from the back of the grid so far into P8 on those soft tyres, really holding it together in the BMW. And here he is in P8 then, with Lord Top Hat behind him, followed by Black Evo and Brum, who with that 1.5 second penalty has dropped all the way to P11, thanks to that previous lap run wide out of the corner and gaining that penalty. And unfortunately, he may feel aggrieved. He may feel like he picked it up battling with the Porsche on the inside. VR Hot Laps then in a strong championship position after a great performance in the first race. Will be looking to try and rely on his underlying pace if his qualifying let him down to some extent. Great to see this battle pack led by Grant, followed by DaddyBanana, Rhino, VR Hot Laps. A little bit further back there in the BMW, we've got a potential move coming from the ever moving forward great starter Zenith Specs here in the BMW, followed incredibly closely by Lord Top Hat and Black Evo here on lap 4 only of the 27. This is tremendous start for our great racers here, and that is VR Hot Laps defending a little bit through into the bus stop. Will hamper him through, but Zenith Specs and his soft tyres starting to go off. I would imagine by now Black Evo's tyres not going off, but certainly helping him to a position where he goes very wide through the front of the knee section here. Brum in P11 trying to bed down now. Ian moving up from near the back as well into 12th. B-Bar in 13th. We've got Monkey Games at the back of the grid. Lyly very well ahead of the two Argento cars. There's a big gap between Lyly and NTO in second, with Sock also in that third position. Permanent driver Sock. And Grant is moving forward as well. Looks like the Obsidian Racing team have got these cars really hooked up well for the race, with Grant in P4 on the mediums and with Zenith Specs in P8 on the soft tyres. DaddyBanana now the stopper in the bottle potentially, with Rhino on the soft tyres. DaddyBanana driving a great defensive run here on the hard tyres at this early stage of the race when his tyres are significantly slower than Rhino's, but that will start to tip over the edge soon enough. Rhino on the soft tyres, committing really to a likely a two-stop race unless he uses the hard tyres. There was a little look there, a dummy being sold by Zenith Specs on VR Hot Laps, who was committed to his line in the braking, didn't respond, didn't react in an over-the-top defensive way, and working out very well indeed. But once again, it looks like it is a much quicker route through turn 1 into the S's and down this long straightaway before we get to that famous fast flowing bus stop. And Zenith Specs almost alongside. We have seen cars successfully overtake around the outside through that section of the bus stop, but not this time for Zenith Specs. Lifted slightly so as to avoid a huge incident. And we have seen some incidents at that section of the track. Brum's dropped further back. I don't know if there's another penalty that Brum had to pay, or it is just trying to manage these hard tyres while drivers with better tyres and better grip at this stage of the race are surrounding him. B-Bar in 13th. Great view of Porsche versus Ferrari here. 3 different models of car, 2 different makes. Brum stuck in the middle. The Joker, if you like, stuck in the middle with you. Here he is in P12. Ian ahead at the moment as we go back to see what's happening in the midfield. We've got Rhino just threatening. Rhino has, I believe, got by VR Hot Laps. Let's have a look for that move. Was that slow through one of the corners from VR? We'll see on board here. we won't see, actually. Excuse me. But yeah, Rhino still stuck behind DaddyBanana at this stage, as we've got VR Hot Lap, Zenith Specs, and Lord Top Hat following in quick succession. Zenith looking great and has now started to close in on VR Hot Laps slightly, but he has got Lord Top Hat right behind him, and now Zenith looking very defensive as his soft tyres are going off in a great way. That was a move, I think. Was that Rhino on DaddyBanana just ahead? You just can't see where the next move is going to come from. How did Rhino manage to make such a great overtake here? Was it a dummy? He went down the inside, the door was open, and he walked straight through it. No arguments there, as the Porsche protecting its tyres a little bit more than the BMW, 2 places back here as Zenith Specs. And he goes through turn 1, now needing to defend here slightly, but it looks like he's giving up the inside line for the forthcoming first bus stop section. Let's see if Lord Top Hat can make the move here. Oh, they almost collide as Lord Top Hat slightly understeers, but he has got the slightest of overlap, and that looks like Black Evo absolutely sending it and following through. Will he escape a penalty? No, well, he will, but unfortunately just overspeed through the corner for Rhino. Let's have another check of that one, because that looked fantastic from Rhino's perspective. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Here we go. You can see the two battling in front, and he feels that there's a definite gap on the inside. Dives through, but just too much speed, too much dirt on the tyres, and the 46 into the barrier, unfortunately. And to add insult to injury, that's picking up damage that won't repair. So he does then have to obviously go ahead and get that damage repair sorted on the hard tyres as well. That's the worst time to pick up damage, and it is a shocking start for Team Morado in the Ferrari 296. Could be it just doesn't suit this circuit, but they both started on the hard tyres and it doesn't look to be working out. Monkey Games has had a fair amount of problems. He's managed to pit, put on new tyres, repair the car, and try and figure out a brand new strategy. NTO has passed lyly. We're going to need to see that again. Is that just a straightforward penalty, a track limits penalty? Lyly pushing too hard or asking too much of the tyres? At this stage, as the softs very much going off, he will start to run wide, and you've got to be careful here at Watkins Glen. Sock is in P3 and not too far away, and then you've got Grant in 4th. Will lyly decide that that penalty is the indicator he needs to get into the pits and get onto a better race tyre than those softs? We shall see. It's a question then, do you go onto the hard tyres? You've got to be really careful pitting as well over that yellow line. Try not to take the racing line through that final corner. NTO, lyly, Sock and Grant, your top 4, and then it continues to be anybody's guess. Rhino we saw passing DaddyBanana, but Rhino on the old soft tyres at this stage, DaddyBanana on the hards, still within a pit stop window of the leaders of the race at this stage. It is Team Azul 6th and 7th, because VR Hot Laps is right there, and then it's Lord Top Hat in the McLaren for Team ZLN. We have Ian in P9 with B-Bar chasing him down as well. Ian, another driver who's moved forward very well in the Porsche, and starting on the medium tyres, the better balance, of course, between the two options either side of it. We've got B-Bar in 10th, and then the Morados following through. Together at the moment, Black Evo just ahead of Brum in 11th and 12th positions, with I think that then just leaves Monkey right at the... No, it doesn't just leave Monkey right at the back. Zenith Specs has also had to pit and go in, and you can see Brum with the damage, Black Evo with the damage. Both cars have damaged a front suspension setup and the front splitter of their cars respectively. So a lot of drama for them to deal with, and that is a big blow to the Team Morado. But it's B-Bar currently chasing down a different Porsche in front of him. Try and make that move stick as soon as possible. We've got lap 7 of the 27. Ian making it what I think to be now 3 Nigel Mansell fans in the league. All of a similar vintage, I think. And here then we've got some movement coming. Lord Top Hat as a car pitting. It's Rhino. Lyly also now in the pits as well. So the soft tyres lasting 7 racing laps, I think, for most everybody that has tried them out. And there is Lord Top Hat in 6th, chasing down the Azul Racing, mostly blue. It is navy blue, a matte navy blue colour scheme here for the Azul Racing cars. Then Lord Top Hat on the mediums goes right round the outside through the S's. Has managed to just get ahead on the track of VR Hot Laps. Wow, that was very, very impressive from Lord Top Hat, just getting the overlap and passing around the outside of VR Hot Laps, who did, you have to say, yield into the corner, didn't want to force the issue, isn't feeling the tyres in a great state at the moment. Lord Top Hat now gets to go and do the same thing again and go after an Azul Racing Team Lamborghini Huracan GT3. Grant is in 3rd currently with that pit stop from that came from our former leader Lyly, who came into the pits from 2nd after a track limit penalty. Sock for Argento in 2nd place, and a distant 1st place at the moment. NTO, our newcomer from France here in the medium tyres in the Peugeot RCZ. You may have some inside information how to get this Peugeot to work well. The RCZ looking like it's a good race car underneath these two drivers anyway in the G2 division. Here he is, Sock. Got a reasonable gap over Grant at the moment. They're really working through their fuel, especially the BMW. Lord Top Hat in 5th. DaddyBanana there in 4th place. Lap 9 of 27. We've had 1 round of pit stops for the soft starters and those suffering a little bit of damage early on. Ian in 7th, B-Bar in 8th, Black Evo and Brum 9th and 10th now, with Lyly, that former leader of the race, switching onto the medium tyres for the at the 1/3 distance just about. I would imagine that this set of medium tyres won't get him to the end of the race, but it could well be fuel limited rather than tyres. Even if the drivers go for a 1-stop between the medium and the hards, I'm not sure that the fuel tank will last them. Here goes Lyly peeling to the inside. Brum says, you know what, you're not close enough to make that work. Brum is often a very sensible strategist when it comes to serious race day. Not so much casual racing, but yeah, Brum will definitely, I would have thought, decide not to fight this too hard between Lyly and himself, as long as he understands that Lyly's on an entirely different strategy, using Hector, our AI race engineer. Rhino in 12th, Zenith Specs in 13th, and Monkey. Most of those soft starters have switched onto the mediums, so deciding not to use the hards today. The hard tyre does appear to be a much more valid race tyre here in the GT3 category of SVR in comparison to the settings we've got set up for the single-seaters, those driven by the rookies and the S1, S2 divisions. You can find those, of course, coming up for their round 3 of the championship very, very soon. DaddyBanana in 4th, Lord Top Hat in 5th. There's some fighting going on behind them between VR Hot Laps and Ian. VR Hot Laps has, unfortunately, though, picked up a penalty. So 1 second off throttle between the toe and the heel of the boot there in the 2nd and 3rd sectors. Going to hurt Ian. Going to hurt VR Hot Laps, excuse me, and I think it's happening. No, it will happen round the next bend. Here is VR Hot Laps defending on the inside, just scraping that nasty wall on the inside of the bus stop. And Ian miscalculating that run, and possibly, I don't know if he got a little slide on there. Let's have a look from outboard on the chase cam here. Puts himself very much on the outside, was well ahead at the apex, but partly I would imagine that was down to simply leaving the braking ever so slightly too late and not being able to get the turn in into to rescue the car before getting the power back on between turns 2 and 3 of that bus stop chicane. B-Bar in 8th, Black Evo in 9th. Lyly has passed Brum. Lyly now passing Brum and going off in pursuit of the other Team Murado. Rhino in 12th, Zenispecs in 13th, and the back of the grid right now, Monkey. But I think gaining a bit of time here on the drivers in front of him. He was a bit further distant from the back of the grid, but obviously those pit stops have helped with Monkey Games and his pursuit to stay on the lead lap and to try and rescue this race. NTO ahead of SOC at the head of the field on the medium tyres, as the mediums are reaching the end of their usable life now on start of lap 11 for these drivers. It won't be long, especially in that BMW, and the difference in the wear situation with the hard tyres. DaddyBanana just getting faster and faster at this stage. 149s, early 149s move in towards a 148.5 on this lap 10, this previous lap for him. Lord Top Hat in 5th position, and then we've got a good run of drivers here at the moment. It is Ian in 6th, B-Bar in 7th, and VR Hot Laps on the hard tyres, likewise getting quicker. I think Watkins Glen looks to not be VR Hot Laps' favourite track in comparison to round 1 perhaps, but yeah, he's certainly putting in a lot of work to make sure that he's competitive and can build a real championship bid here. But yeah, VR Hot Laps at the moment in that P8. B-Bar just shadowing the Tortoro sponsored Team Oro or Gold and PSV Racing affiliated Porsche team. B-Bar P7, and just watching Ian in front as these three are the closest, I think, 3 drivers together on the track. We'll just go forward and just check in on Lord Top Hat, DaddyBanana, as the drivers are in a real management phase on those that started on the mediums anyway. There is VR Hot Laps, and there's Lyly on his 2nd set of tyres, looking to try and stay within a pit stop of the front runners. Grant pits. Looked like the tyres were very second best in the BMW, and we'll see if Lyly can make this 2-stop strategy work. I'd be very surprised if a set of mediums will get him home from here. But then, as I said before, could well be down to some fuel usage as well. Black Evo in 7th. We have Grant in the pits, we have Lord Top Hat in the pits, and B-Bar as well. Medium tyres running through, I want to say, 12 racing laps only here. Possibly even 11 racing laps. It is 11 racing laps that they've managed to do for the most part from cold, from the start, the rolling start we had, and in and out of the pits comes B-Bar. Hopefully everybody is being very careful. B-Bar extraordinarily careful out of pit road there, not to cross the solid yellow line. And Brum has fitted another set of tyres, this time a set of softs quite recently. Brum is down in 14th position. So Monkey Games making positions up then, thanks to a couple pit stops out there. Look at this gorgeous Hector Motorsports livery with the stripes and the strakes across the front as well. And another contender for top livery is this Team Murado Joker style colour scheme with the purple and the green. NTO in P1, SOC in P2. These Peugeots driving nicely, managing the fuel and tyre wear to good effect as well. I don't imagine they'll get many more racing laps out of the tyres, but NTO is going to run out of fuel, I think, before he runs out of grip on that front left. DaddyBanana, I mentioned him before with his improving lap times. It may now slightly be tipping over, well, very much so. Back to the 149s for DaddyBanana that time. Ian across the line then. He's setting a 49.0. Much slower lap there, 49.8 from VR Hot Laps. Lyly 47.2 and he still has the ultimate fastest lap of the race of 46.0 right at the start, as he was trying to get away from everybody. Unfortunately, pushed a little bit too hard, picked up an off-throttle penalty, which cost him the lead prior to the pit stops. Now it's about, for him, having made his stop earlier, trying to put in the best laps possible relative to NTO and Sock, but he did have to pass a little bit of slower runners. There is a full-on Joker mask for Black Evo's helmet as well through the bus stop. 296 looking very nicely poised through there at this stage, but he has got the damage. So turning, I would imagine, turning to the left is going to be harder for him than turning to the right with the weight going onto the damaged wheel. His teammate had the opposite front wheel damage, so would have had a very differently handling Ferrari 296, but of course he's now fixed that damage as Grant is in pursuit of Rhino. It's lap 13 of the 27 here, the second round of the G2 divisional race in the VR Sim Racing World Championship, and it is Ento in the pits at the end of his lap 13. So his teammate comes in with 10 more litres of fuel in the car, Sock. Will that play into the calculations later on? It means that he spends less stationary time in the pits refueling. So that is really important. DaddyBanana takes the lead of the race as well. We'll go have a look at DaddyBanana in the lead of the race, shall we? Because that's going to be a popular situation for him. Here he is. Started on those hard tyres, has a huge gap behind to the other hard tyre runner still on the at the front of the grid here. Hot laps. Behind him, we've got lyly. So these drivers look like they've been using a lot less fuel at this stage than the medium runners. So perhaps going for that tortoise style, slow and steady race management to try and get into just a one-stop race here. He'll need to get well into the second half of the race, which obviously he's got into the second half now, but he'll want to get a little bit deeper into this race and then be able to turn the engine up towards the end of the race if he can. lyly absolutely on it right now. 48.1 that last lap, as I think he probably had to pass somebody, but then was operating the low 1 minute 47s and gunning for the lead of this race outright. Of course he made the pit stop. He has successfully undercut NTO and Sox, stretched that lead back to what he would think it should be, as there you can see NTO coming out of the pits directly with Rhino and Grant, who made the pit stop slightly earlier. So that just underlines the power of the undercut today here at Watkins, as NTO tries to go round and Grant is so that's not Grant, excuse me, that is a lapped runner for NTO. Is it? No, my bad. It definitely is Grant. So Grant and NTO fighting hard over effectively the lead of the race, really. But I would imagine these drivers are going to either have to turn the engine down, which I don't see Grant doing given he's only got half a tank of fuel on board, or in the position of NTO, getting into the second half of the race, filling up the tank and putting the hard tyres on for the second half of the race. Medium hards for the Argento Peugeots today. There's Zenith Specs also running a short stint right now on low fuel on used mediums, but look at this. That's the weight and the tyre advantage really helping for basically Obsidian versus Argento, and the BMW getting ahead then, but they'll be trusting to their strategy, NTO and Sock, and it will be a two-stopper for lyly and a one-stopper for NTO and Sock, and it's going to be a two-stopper, I think, for Grant here, who didn't put enough fuel in for a BMW at least to run half this race distance. So he'll be running through these, then a splash and dash, change of tyres, possibly a little hot run on the soft tyres at the end of the race, but he needs to not be held up now by the likes of Rhino and Black Evo, who I think have both already made... No, they haven't made a stop. Black Evo holding up Rhino, and soon to be Grant as well, into the final 10% of fuel for Black Evo, and they'll be absolutely hoping that Evo goes into the pit lane now. If he's feeling particularly kind, he's put his blinkers on here. If he's headed towards pit road, and he is headed towards pit road, so he's going to have to slow. The cars around the outside going to have to avoid the apex of the corner, as there goes Black Evo into the pits. Then finally, as far as Grant and Rhino are concerned, Grant could well be working his way in towards the podium contention here today on the similar strategy to Lyly, who has the lead of the race ahead of Rhino and Hot Laps. There is Hot Laps, still hasn't pitted. It's lap 16 and Hot Laps still hasn't pitted. Is he going to try and do a 10-lap stint at the end of this race on the soft tyres on low fuel? That'll be awesome if he can do hards to softs. It definitely seems like soft to hards are possible, but is it possible the other way round for Hot Laps? Lyly leads Hot Laps and Rhino, with those two last mentioned drivers, as far as I'm aware, needing to make another stop at least. We do think Grant is going to be in a similar situation. And the first of the certain, I would say, one-stoppers is NTO in P5. Now he is going in towards the toe of the boot. The gap at the front of this grid for Lyly is not yet sufficient to be able to defend from the Peugeot RCZ of NTO. Looks to me like he is well within the pit stop window of the car in front. Grant still hunting down Rhino, who's on much worse tyres but has a lighter fuel load at this stage. Looks to me as if Grant is going to be able to use those softs and a low amount of fuel at the end of the race. So Grant has possibly got the CND anti-nuclear weaponry stickers on the back of the car there. Let's have a quick inspection. Yeah, there they are, next to his either side of his race number 143. Grant in P3 right now. NTO in that 4th place and working hard, working the wheel, and trying to get this race home at the best position possible. Sock in 5th, ahead of Lord Top Hat and Ian. Sock running the hards, Ian the mediums. Sock the hards, Lord Top Hat the mediums, and then you've got Ian on a similar strategy, I think, to Lyly, possibly, but he's on the soft tyres at the moment with 1/4 of his tank left in 7th place. DaddyBanana pitting and emerging then on the medium tyres in P8. B-Bars in 9th, as we have Brum in 10th. VR Hot Laps making his final pit stop and putting on just about enough fuel for the final 10 laps here on the mediums. Didn't manage to, or didn't dare to use the softs, I should say. VR Hot Laps for 11 complete laps it will be for the end of this race. We have Black Evo in 12th place, Zenith Specs in 13th with his blinkers on, although I don't think he's going into the pit lane. I didn't even know that blinkers worked on BMWs for the number 17 here, so there is evidence that sometimes the BMW factory can fit indicators on their cars. Monkey Games back in 14th right now, and again setting himself up to reach the end of the race in the McLaren. Here is Lyly, medium tyres, lap 18 beginning for Lyly. Turn 1 is the far north east edge of the race track as you look at it, with Grant having managed to find his way by Rhino. Grant runs and is looking like he's in a really good place here. I would fancy him to really take it to at least, I would say at least Sock for P3 when all is said and done. That is his main target, I believe, at this stage, would be Sock. But these different strategies really being something that is proving very, very difficult. Talking of Sock, you've just seen Ian. I think Ian get by here. Look at this from Ian as he was completely behind the car in front. No boost here. This is tyre traction. This is timing and slipstream from Ian. Oh, wow. And having to stamp on the brakes through the bus stop. Gets a little tag from behind from Sock. But that would just be about the closing speed. Nothing Sock could do, being hard on the brakes himself as well. And everything just kind of bottlenecking the racing line through that bus stop. Sock in P6, trying to bring that Peugeot and Team Argento 2 seats on the podium today, but it is really hard for him to defend these positions on those new cold hard tyres as the temperatures continue to drop. It'll be a bit easier though, because Lord Top Hat now has this off throttle penalty, and that will give Sock the breathing room he needs to get those hard tyres up to temperature and then try and put in his metronomic ultimate best laps one after another. Try and stay on the podium and stay within the pit stop window of Grant in front of him. Going back through the grid, we have Lord Top Hat then with that penalty, just dropping back in P7. Banana in P8 on the medium tyres now, and ready to go to the end of the race. B-Bar also on mediums, has fuel to the finish, but will those mediums make the end of the race? The Porsche tends to be gentler on the fronts for obvious reasons as the fuel burns off in these here, and it is a front left tyre limited race, so there's a chance. Brum goes into the pits for Team Morado, his lollipop man, looking very active out there as he comes in for his final pit stop. Will Black Evo be on the same strategy? Not at the moment. Soft tyres coming off Brum, and it's a choice then of what he goes on to next. I think that might be well, it's definitely a 2-stop. It might even be a 3-stop for Brum at this stage. Lap 18 of the 27. Zenith Specs in 13th. Monkey Games in 14th. I'm not sure whether they will get out, stay out here, or Brum will. No, they will get past Brum in the pit lane. We'll have a look, because the pit lane does shorten the resumption of the race from behind. There he is, Brum emerging back in the final position of our full grid of 14 drivers, but of course on those brand new soft tyres, the minimum amount of fuel he needs to the end of the race. Looks like, well, lyly still operating in the mid 148s, albeit that lap was 0.3 slower lap 18 than lap 17. Definitely, I think, now in the window for using the soft tyres to the end of the race at full pace, but he stays out. Not looking to go in just yet, but I don't see those mediums reaching the end of the race by any stretch of the imagination. Coming through, some 7-8 seconds behind is Grant at the moment. He just ran a 48.5, which is slightly faster than lap 18 of lyly. NTO continues to operate in the mid to late 148s in P3, and Ian, who was near the back of the grid at the start of this race, is in P4. He will need to make another pit stop, just like his teammate, so they will, Totoro will fall back, Oro Racing Porsches, but can they then move their way forward once again? Sock in P5. The medium and the soft tyres are absolutely the best race tyres here, but the hard tyres allow the drivers to think about a one-stopper if they can save fuel in that first half of the race. And it's all about such a difficult job for the race drivers to think about having to temper their pace at the start in order to make the end of the race, or do the opposite and turn the engine down for this final period. Sock is pretty much fighting Grant as far as I'm concerned. I think lyly will come back out of the pits in P2, net P2 behind NTO, but on newer tyres, and that could be very interesting later on. We will see in the dying laps whether he has a good pace difference between himself and NTO as he had in qualifying and at the start of the race. Can he manage to stay within track limits though, is the biggest question, I think. DaddyBanana in 7th, new tyres, fuel to the end, and ready to go racing as our race leader lyly now does pit. We'll see if Grant follows him in. No, he doesn't. Grant's staying out for another lap. And you're getting to the point then when you can't actually use everything that your soft tyres will give you at the end of the race. Blinker was on deliberately there on the Porsche for Bibar. Props to him for using his blinkers properly. It's very difficult in VR unless you have a head-up display on your race car dash that tells you your blinkers are on. You don't necessarily know that you've either put them on or taken them off. Case in point, Zenith. He clearly has got something wrong with his BMW because the right indicator is functioning. We've got Brum in P14 on those brand new soft tyres with good pace. It's just not been the race, hasn't gone the right way for him. That's an unusual place to make an overtake, and I think he might have had a slightly breathless moment there where he just thought perhaps he was headed toward disaster, and it's ended up costing him a chance to overtake into turn 1 as well. I would have thought here, getting on the power nicely and following the slipstream through the S's will help that Ferrari 296, but he's not happy. I heard pre-season with the fact that with the balance of performance factors on this 296, it really deadens what is a really enjoyable race car to drive, adds a lot of weight and reduces performance a lot. Here is Grant in P1, low fuel now. He can see NTO behind him, but his battle today really isn't with NTO. It steers across to the right there and heads towards the pit road. So had 1 lap in the lead almost for Grant. He will then resume out of the pit stop. Talk about resume. NTO will retake the lead of our race on lap 22. And we'll see where lyly is. lyly has dropped back a lot further than I expected him to. Sock comes through in P2 ahead of Top Hat and Banana. Top Hat running out of tyres, I think now, and definitely running low on fuel. DaddyBanana is the man on the move right now. He's got tyres to the finish, he's got fuel to the finish, and he can see potentially Sock in front, and that's the important one for him. How far back is lyly? Well, it's a good gap. It's a big gap. It's not good from his perspective. lyly, brand new soft tyres, half a tank of fuel, going absolutely flat out to finish this race. Oh, there was DaddyBanana into the nasty wall on the inside. It's wider than it looks and takes a penalty just as I was talking up his chances. Unfortunately, Banana just tagging that nasty wall on the inside, and that has really hurt, because not only did it stop him making an overtake, but it cost him an extra 1 second off throttle. That's going to help lyly gain a position, gain track time, and time it against the driver in front there. We've got lyly 5th, VR Hot Lap 6th, and then a good battle here between Rhino on new soft tyres and Grant on new soft tyres. If this is confusing for you guys watching, it's confusing for me too. Just the cost of these pit stops, the different strategies at play here today, but it looks like the race has absolutely come to NTO and to Sock there, trusting the process, starting on the mediums, switching to the hards, going for a 1-stop fuel economy drive in the actually pretty good in terms of fuel management, the Peugeot RCZ, and it could be that this turns out to be the meta strategy today. Lord Top Hat pits. He was in the McLaren, and for a moment there in P3 behind the two. They've got into it. That's Rhino and Grant getting into it. That's a big one, unfortunately, for Rhino. As we'll just check that out again. What happened here? I think it was Grant that got into him. We'll watch from Grant's perspective. Remember, Grant on brand new softs, Rhino on reasonably new softs. Rhino goes for a well, I'm not quite sure whether he was going for an overtake or not. Grant quite unsure what to do in that situation, because if you watch it one more time, you see right there Rhino lost the car himself before the contact was made. It wasn't Grant that got into him, so I think Grant just slowly getting away here from a standstill, but I think he needs to trust that the stewards will rule in his favour on that side of things. Rhino, unfortunately, just getting a little bit too much speed or too much throttle on mid-corner there through the final corner, and the Porsche doing Porsche things, letting him down and oversteering. And then unfortunately, not a lot, in my view, at first view anyway, not a lot that the following car could do to fight him at all. Lord Toback comes out with B-Bar just behind B-Bar and on a similar strategy. Monkey Games in 12th, Zenith Specs in 13th, and Brum is in that 14th place, and his soft tyres have to do 4 more laps. And at the pace Brum is pushing this car, I think that might be rather difficult by the look of things. It looks like he's wearing through that very, very quickly. So NTO comes through the heel of the boot, very much on his own at this stage. Sock follows through about now, so there's a decent gap there. Lyly needs to reel in Sock. 46.5 for Lyly that last lap. 49.9 for Sock. 48.7 for NTO. Those at that rate, NTO will be with Lyly will be there with Sock at the end of the race, I believe. But I think NTO is too far away, and it could just be that one penalty that makes the difference. And of course, the different strategy at play there for the Peugeots. But Lyly will be ruining that penalty and that wide moment, I would imagine. It's hot laps in P5 behind DaddyBanana, who is his teammate for Azul Racing. And he can probably see Lyly, but it looks like Banana has damaged the front of his Lamborghini. He probably won't be hoping for a podium here at this stage. Grant has a penalty on the car, and I think that might be as a result of the contact. Possibly. I don't know. Let's just see where that arrived. And I'm not seeing where it came from. So, yeah, it does look like possibly Grant has that from the contact, though it would have been the previous lap. So I think we may have had another issue there for Grant, unfortunately. Here is Black Evo ahead of Ian and Rhino. Rhino with that slide earlier on, and Ian on the new soft tyres. Same strategy as his teammate Lyly, which we're seeing from these drivers. Unless damage has complicated the pit stop schedule, they have pretty much made a decision on their pit stops and are sticking to it. Or Ian round the outside where the marbles lie, and the grip is low through there. Does look quite low down in the cockpit, doesn't he, for a GT3 car, Ian? I don't think he's particularly short. Just his avatar or the seating position in these Porsches. You would have thought it would help you to have a better view of the racetrack, but I guess the roofs are a little bit taller than the 296 by comparison in front. Black Evo making sure that he laughs his way through this race with his helmet design. There, I do like it when drivers are able to make use of the visor as part of their design. It does look good. B-Bar in 10th. Lord Top Hat is in 11th with Monkey, his teammate, one space back in 12th. Monkey was obviously touring right at the back of this race, but I think has developed a great deal of consistency in this second stint. Second and third stints. Brum, I don't know how Brum gets home on that tyre. He's going to have to treat that front left very gently indeed on the remaining 3 laps he has to run. Zenith Specs at the back in the BMW as well. Your leader, NTO, who is almost, well, he's almost 2 turns at this stage ahead of teammate Sock. Lyly, where is Lyly at the moment? Here he is, on board with Lyly as we come through in the beautiful sounding Porsche. And he follows Sock here with 2 laps to go. 48.5 his previous lap and a 47.4 for Sock. Watching Sock's mirrors, a 49.0, 49.4. He's picked up the pace a little bit. He's spooked, I would say, slightly by Lyly's ascendancy. Let's give you a nice camera angle here to watch back from Sock. This is the one that matters then, the battle for P2 today. Those Totoro teeth and eyes do look good in pursuit here, don't they? And look at the performance difference through the final corner, especially for lyly, as we get a 49.3 on board the Peugeot. Oh, beautiful slide from the Totoro Porsche directly behind our camera car as well. Love to see it. So as we then decide to kick up some dirt in the face of the of lyly, the run he has got right now, shapes to the inside. I don't think that was a serious overtake attempt there. That was more just to make sure that Sock could see him. But I do think the pressure is starting to build now on Sock. A 46.9 the previous lap then from lyly. That performance difference is huge, but it's only going to last a very short amount of time, because the soft tyres are going to start complaining as we build to the ultimate finish of this race. We're in the penultimate lap. Almost mispronounced it there in an embarrassing way. Here is lyly. I was going to go and have a look at the big battle pack we've got in the rear, but I don't want to miss this for the podium. Shapes to the outside to the inside. He makes Sock just change lines very slightly, does lyly, and then there's a chance then into the next one, but only short straightaways between the turns here at Watkins, with the exception of the run out of turn 1 into the bus stop, which may be where it gets done. I'm just going to go back and have a look where everybody else is. We did have some close running here. Black Evo trying to hold off Grant, who stopped 1 lap after lyly, so does have that bit more soft tyre life left in the car. To the finish. Oh, of course, the minute I cut away, let's just see what happened here, because it did look like lyly had a great deal of better performance through this final corner, despite the fact that he's in that Porsche. Yeah, Sock just went over the curb slightly too much for the ideal racing line on the exit, and lyly gets through then into P2. It's the final lap for the leaders. I think NTO is too far ahead here for lyly to dream of getting ahead of him, unless he gets a massive penalty on this final lap. lyly or as NTO, or he runs out of fuel. I don't think either of those are very likely to happen, albeit that he's in the last 10% of fuel. DaddyBanana and VR Hot Laps, the Team Azul pairing in 4th and 5th place. Looking like they're going to get a good points haul today, as will the Oro Racing Totoro Porsches in what is 2nd and 7th. But Argento, I think, are going to take the lead of this championship. Black Evo chasing down Ian here. Looking like he's got a good run on Ian to the outside into the bus stop. I thought he was going to go round the outside there. Lord Top Hat takes the inside, a very narrow line through the bus stop, and holds on as well. It is all action here at the end of our fantastic second round of the G2 Championship. The Hector Porsches of B-Bar and Rhino are trading places. Just a coordinated effort there. Rhino's got nothing left. He's puncture risk on the front left on this Porsche. Monkey in 12th, Zenith in 13th, Brunt in 14th at the moment, and into the penultimate corner of the final lap of the race comes this beautifully designed Argento Peugeot RCZ of NTO, and he will win, I think, his first race with us here at SVR, a debut winner for NTO from France. Formidable, as lyly comes through to take home good points for the championship in P2, and Sock, flashing the lights, crosses over to complete our podium in P3. DaddyBanana in 4th, VR Hot Laps home in 5th place. We've got Grant in 6th. Strong drive from Grant, incredibly strong driver of the day drive from Ian, from my view. Black Evo in 8th, Lord Top Hat in 9th, B-Bar in 10th, and we have Rhino ticking home. Is he on low fuel? He's not quite on low fuel. Rhino in 11th. Monkey Games on his own there. Good performance from Monkey in the second part of the race in P12. Zenith in 13th, and I think Brum has run out of tyres, and he's damaged the car as well. So we hurt Brum a bit more by showing this? I'm sorry, Brum. That sucks. That is tough. Tough to take for Brum, unfortunately. NTO, though, taking the win ahead of lyly and Sock, your podium. Congratulations to them. Thank you so much, everybody, for enjoying the race with us today. Do hit something positive under the video. Make sure you're subscribing to this channel and my channel, Webber Red 5, and we appreciate you for stopping by today. Tune in at the weekend for the next races in this great SVR championship. We will catch you very soon. Thank you so much for watching.